Okay, today is day after the very first actual proper physio session. So you might see I'm using the crutches rather than the frame. I can actually get around without these, but what I find is um, my ankles and my feet over the course of the day just get really sore. So I'm kind of preemptively trying to use these to take some pressure off my feet and ankles so that I can do more during the day. Because there's no like, don't get any prizes for being sore. It doesn't actually help with the recovery of my knees, my quads. So I'm using these basically to take some pressure off and also a little bit of balance because the balance on my right leg's not the best. Now, I've been cleared to not wear these anymore if I don't want to, with the exception of when I'm actually doing physio stuff for my legs, which makes sense. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting them on just for normal training, which I think is probably better to err on the side of caution. Now this one is unlocked. Well, it's all the way to 120 degrees, which basically means it's unlocked. The other one I think is still locked to 90 degrees. This just to give the extra little bit of stability if need be. Now, it looks like it's just about to start a storm. Hopefully the camera won't get wet. So yeah, yesterday's physio, so I had a physio appointment the week before, and that was alright, but we basically just talked, and because of the guidelines from the surgeon, couldn't really do much. So this week, the surgeons actually discharged me, and we're like, right, basically it's just physio now. So we did a handful of different things, some assessments. My range of motion on my right leg, which is supposed to be the better one, is 55 degrees of flexion. My left leg, which is this one, 60 degrees, just slightly more range of motion in it. I'm not really sure why that is, but the right one does tend to cause me more pain at different points. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to start with the upper body stuff first, because the lower body stuff, it wipes me out, whereas the upper body stuff, it's fine because I'm not doing anything particularly heavy. So today shall be similar to what I did last time. So in the end, I don't know which day it was that I did it last week, but basically I've done something every day, but if it's been stuff that I've done inside, that's lower body training, I've not always filmed that because it depends on the time of day it is. So like for example, I need to do some lower body rehab stuff, but Rach has only just got up, so it's probably not the best thing to be doing while she's getting ready and whatnot in the house. So that's why I've come out here to do this first. That was my elbow. What I'm going to do is upper body first, then lower body, and then I'll be doing more stretching stuff throughout the day. The way today's set up is I basically have maybe 3 hours free now. I'm not going to use all three of them for this. And then I have work essentially from 12 until 7. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, in terms of actual session and stuff, I'm just going to see how it goes. So last bench session, I went up to, I think it was 60 kilos just for 10, because that's all I could get on. I think I'll be okay now to move the 20 kilo plates. We'll find out in a second. You'll notice, well, you might notice, you might not notice, I have a lovely whiteboard here. So for explaining things, I can actually use that to write things down. And the other thing is, I've got the dip bar out now, so I can use that. And we've got the doors on that. So I think they look quite smart, to be honest with you. So like I say, look, I can walk about, okay? How do these look? I think they look smart. I think I should be okay to move the 20 kilo plates around, to be honest with you. But we'll see in a few sets anyway, won't we? And then what I'm going to be doing is, as of next week, so today is Wednesday. As of next week, I'm going to be going back to the gym, but not my gym. I'll be going to the bodybuilding gym that I sometimes talk about, because, well, one of the biggest reasons is I want to use the ski erg. I feel really unfit. I don't just feel really unfit, I am really unfit at the minute, because I've not done any cardio or anything that gets me consistently out of breath for a prolonged period of time. So I want to use the ski erg, just literally for fitness, and then whilst I'm there I may as well do some other bits and pieces of training, but I'm waiting until next week just because it'll be the end of the month and the memberships are monthly, so rather than paying for like a day pass or something, I'll just wait next week. I do need to remember to contact them to get my membership open again. I will, realistically, I'm not going to be filming stuff in there, to be honest. So, 40 kilos. Nice and easy. So after the physio, basically the entire thing with the physio now is I need to get range of motion back in my legs. It's one of them things of, he said you can do whatever you want, and then when I started asking specific things, it was no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. But what he actually meant was you can do whatever you want that doesn't directly load the quad tendon. And for loading the quad tendon, I need to keep that to the specific things we talked about. So what that is basically leg extensions, just body weight, squats. So I did some squats to like a really, really high setup. And then other things that he suggested doing are like bridges, so glute bridges, and then calf raises as well. So I'm happy to do all of them. What I'm going to do in here, this bar, I'm going to raise this up to whatever height, and then use this as a reference point for how high or low I'm going, so I can keep track of that for moving forwards. So today, bench press, Wednesday the 29th, 10 at 20, 40, 50, and then we'll see from there. This is good as well because although I do like using the app, I'm filming with my phone, so I can't use it whilst I'm doing this, but I can write it down as I go, and as well because I've not got like a proper full training block with me, just like playing it by ear like I said. This will be good just to keep a note of things as we go, and for the setup as well. With that said, 50 kilos. Nice and easy. Next, 60 kilos. So, let's see if I can put the big plates on. If I can, this will make things much easier. So, other exercises for my legs that I can do. He said he's happy for me to start hinging. So, Romanian deadlifts, for example. He's even happy for me to do hamstring curls. So the only thing with that is I won't be able to do hamstring curls lying, because laid on my front, my hip will be an extension. So that'll mean that it's not going to have the range of motion in my quad to be able to do any meaningful range of motion. But if I do seated hamstring curls, because that angle is shorter for your quad there, it means I should be able to load it, because with how much tension there is through the quad tendon at the moment, the range of motion, like, there is some range of motion, but it's basically non-existent. Like, I don't know if you can hear it in my breath, like I'm getting out of breath, just shuffling around, which is why I want to start actually doing cardio. So I was doing cardio usually about 3, sometimes 4 times a week, like up until the last week or 2 before the competition, where I dropped it. So I'm not used to feeling so unfit. So anyway, I go to the other gym. Most of their leg machines are downstairs. Their ski egg is downstairs. So I'll be able to go there, use like the hamstring curl. I probably will use the Smith machine for like stiff leg deadlifts at first, because although I can, my balance is still not quite right, and I just don't want to fall over, because I still can't get on and off the ground without having something to lift myself on, just because of not being able to bend my leg. And the other thing is, I can't hold myself in a press-up position or a plank position yet. So that means I can't roll over onto my front and then like walk my hands up. But that's something I'll be working on. But I'll work on that in the house, because I can do it on either of the sofas. The sofas are quite low, so I can basically just do a dip to lift my bum onto the seat, and then I can stand up from there. So that's why I don't want to risk falling over, basically. Downside to the gym is the stairs. There's no lift to get upstairs, it's just a staircase. So like the normal size steps, I can't do steps yet. And I asked about starting to work on doing steps, and the answer was a resounding no, not yet. I need to get the load bilaterally first before the unilateral load. So although like that's kind of a step, I can do it with my legs straight, getting on and off the scales. That's technically a little step, but like I can do it with my legs straight. But he said to leave that till the next time, which is 2 weeks' time. Before then, what he wanted me to be able to do is to get my knee to 90 degrees. So that there is about my limit, which I think is about 55 degrees. I mean, it might be slightly more or slightly less, because obviously different days are going to be different. But yeah, that's the biggest limiting factor, is the range of motion. Anyway, let's go 60. Look at that, getting up without these. That's good. I didn't even think about that. I just did it. So, 60 kilos is done. So that's what I did last time. So we'll go 70 kilos. So rather than just doing loads and loads of volume with this, what I'm kind of doing is trying to get back up to what will be an actual working weight for me, like if I were normal. So let's say it's only fair to go off what I've actually done, as much as I want to go off what I think I could have done. So the reason I say that is the plan for the competition day was 170, but it's unreasonable to base my training off the 170 because I didn't actually do it, and also obviously I've lost some strength. So if we go off, I did 161 in the gym. So if we go off 161, say that's my max, to be doing like effective strength training, ideally I want to be at least at like 75% to be getting meaningful strength work done. So what's that? 75% of 160. I'll teach you some maths whilst we're at it. So the way to do that is 75% means it's 25% off. The reason you go for that is because 160 is a nice number that divides by 4. So 160 divided by 4 is 40. So take off 25%, which is 40, you get to 120. So realistically, I need to be doing sets with around 120 to have a meaningful strength adaptation. And from a hypertrophy perspective, it's more like 50% plus. And so for that, I'd only be 80 kilos. So I need to be working with at a minimum 80 kilos for the higher rep stuff, up to around 120 kilos for the lower rep stuff. All of this is kind of pointless because the first thing is just to train consistently, get on a schedule. I think I said in one of the last videos about basically doing push pull. But what I'm gonna do this weekend, or maybe if I'll have time today, I'll do it today. If not, maybe this weekend, because I'm upgrading a bunch of stuff with the coaching as well. So I want to time the two together so I can go through the new coaching process at the same time. I'm going to actually write out a program, but what I'll be doing is the slots for lower body, I won't be programming them like over a long time period. I'll probably just program them for between physio sessions. So like for the next 2 weeks, lower body sessions will be this, see physio next 2 weeks, and so on and so on. Whereas for upper body, I can start to, I'd imagine, well, I'll do this set, but I'd imagine that I can probably start training bench mostly normally by the end of this week. Just with my legs down, it doesn't really matter too much. I've never been a big leg drive person. So yeah, let me just do this first. So there we go, 70 kilos for 10. I could start to feel it on the last rep or two in both my pecs. It started to feel like I was doing something. My heart rate is going. I still think I could have done 5 or 6 more, but that will be it for today. So that's another 10 kilo jump. So my point was, another week, I'd be up to 80 kilos. So that then means I'm back into that range I said of 50% plus. So 70 at, I'm going to call it 6. I think I could have done 4 more. So what that means then is from next week, I can kind of just treat bench like normal, instead of having to treat it like it's something special, you know? Oh, out of breath though. And then at the other gym, I'll be able to do some exercises there that I can't do here, just because I have the equipment. But there's some things that I won't be able to do. So like, for example, the bench there is really awkward, and there's nothing to lower myself down with or lift myself back up with. So I wouldn't bench there, and obviously I don't need to because I've obviously got the bench here. or like the pull downs. So the pull down there is much higher than it is here. So I wouldn't be able to like stand myself back up with it to get back in position. But on the contrary, there are some other things that I could do there. So they've got a cable machine, the one that's got the two sides to it, and you can adjust the height. So I'd be able to do a lot more variety in cable stuff than I can here. And then dumbbells. So here I've got a 4, 6, 8 and a 10, but they'll actually be going on Friday. I can't talk about why yet, but basically on Friday they're going. So I won't have them anymore. But then there's dumbbells there. I've got 2 adjustable ones. They're 24 kilos at the minute. They'll be limited by what small plates I can put on them. So I can't have them even because I don't have 2 of all the small plates. But yeah, apart from that, there's nothing that exciting that'll be going on there. Mainly just the lower body stuff. Right then. So I want to do some triceps now. I quite want to do some dips. It'll just be whether or not I can get the dip bar in place on here. I think I can. And then nutrition wise, nothing real has changed except I am being more consistent with the timing of food now, just because previously Rachel was having to get me like 100% of things, whereas now she's getting me like 60, 65, 70% of things. So like for example, when I wake up on a morning, I get up, I can go and get food straight away. I don't need to wait. So that obviously saves time. And then if I'm hungry, I can go and get stuff. Things like that make it much easier. So like this morning, for example, let me see how I can do this. So this just wants to be high enough that I can do reps, but low enough that I don't have to, well, I can't jump. So like that's not really an option. Come on. There we go. This'll work. I wasn't sure if there would be space here. 5 reps, that will do. I don't think I can get out of here though. No, so I'll just have to do my sets whilst I'm stood here. I'm not going to do, you know what? Oh, I've got a bit of a pump from doing that. I think I am literally just going to do that set. And it might seem like I'm being lazy, but I'm really not. I'm really just trying to be cautious of like, do enough to stimulate an adaptation, but not so much. And because I'm so detrained at the minute, it's probably enough. Oh, cool. Now let's see if I can get this off. So I would have liked for this to point out at the front, but the way the rack is means that that's not possible. This can live down here. Right then. Dips. Dip, singular set. 1 set of 5. I was 97.5 this morning. So 5 at body weight at 8. I think I could have done 2 more with decent technique. So then finally, something shouldery. That's a real word, shouldery. dumbbells. I just grab one of them. This is the other thing as well now. I can actually carry things. Not necessarily heavy things, but still things nonetheless. Six kilos, 12 reps. Got a pump. That's enough. DBL 12 at 6 at 7. So 12 reps at 6 kilos for an RPE 7. That's what those numbers mean. That's it for the upper body stuff. Nothing else to do for the push session. I realise that looks like it's barely anything. That's just because it is barely anything. But that's enough for what I need. So I took the progress pictures. So that will be like my week 0, if you like. Now I'm actually doing the plan. Not really much in the way of a plan now. Next week will be a proper plan start. So now the next thing I need to do is basically just my quad rehab. So what's the best way of doing this? So the stretching stuff, I'm going to do that inside. So I probably aren't going to take you for that. But it's literally just stretching my quads. There's nothing particularly exciting about that. The strength stuff I will show you here, because that's what I want to do now. So it'll be squatting to this. Just need to sort out the height of it. I think I'm going to start with it a couple higher. You just have to bear with me a second. It takes me a while to get things set up. I'm going to go up 2. So I'm going to put it in the one above the 20. To start with. Oh, I can smell the drains. I'm assuming it's the drains. So I'm going to get them, get that set up there. And then I'm going to get the slant boards as well. So with the rehab stuff, there's going to be rehab that's going to be daily. There's going to be rehab that's going to be 3 times a day. And then there's going to be rehab that's going to be 2 or 3 times a week. So each one is going to be different. So obviously there's going to be crossover between them. But that's the way I'm doing things. So first thing here is squats. Literally just to there and back up. But what I'm going to do is, instead of hinging my hips backwards, so I normally squat with a slight hinge in my hips, I'm going to just drive my knees forwards. So I realise it barely looks like I'm moving, but got to start somewhere. And then the other thing I need to do as well is more hip flexor stuff. So like L-sits. That's 10 kind of squats. And then next, I'm going to do some hip flexor stuff. I need to move these bits out of the way. I could kind of like feel them at my side, and it made me feel like I was uneven doing this. So I'm going to go through this a couple of times. I don't really want to move the bench out of the way, just because it's awkward to move. So that's why I'm doing this with my legs wider. Don't think it's going to make any difference to anything. So, squat and hanging leg raise to, I'm going to call it to 90 degrees. So that was in the one, that was in number 20. Pin 20 times, so 10 at pin 20, and that was 5 at body weight. So let's progress them. They felt alright. I think I can manage a bit lower. So yeah, physio said next goal is basically get that range of motion to 90 as soon as possible now, because now I'm at the point where the repair will have happened, but don't want it to now start to stiffen up too much to the point of where I can't regain the range of motion. I mean, I've said this before, and I still stand by it, of I would rather it's longer to get the range of motion back, but the risk of re-rupture is lower. That's kind of where I'm at the minute. So oftentimes the range of motion will have been pushed more aggressively, but the risk of rupture, it's very hard to find research on this. So this is purely anecdotal. From what I've seen, re-rupture seems to happen more common when rehab is pushed more aggressively in the first sort of 6 or 7 weeks. After about the 8-week point, doesn't seem to make any difference. Anyway. So with this, like I said, I'm trying to drive my knees forwards rather than back, so the tension's actually on them. So it's like, it's not even painful, it just feels strange and weak. So that's actually pretty good from a strength perspective. So obviously your quad crosses over here, so your hip flexor is involved in this. So the strength there is obviously good. It really is just the range of motion in the knee. There's something else I want to do during the rehab of all of this, is improve my range of motion on everything. So, sorry, one sec. I want to improve my range of motion on everything. So for example, on the dips, I want to be able to get deeper. When I do my squats just generally, I want to be able to do like heels together, full ass to grass squat. I couldn't do that prior to the accident, unless I had squat shoes on, but that's cheating. So I think that would be a really cool goal to aim for. And as well, like, so my range of motion for touching the floor has actually gotten better just out of necessity. So if I bend over and just try to touch the ground, my range of motion here is much better than it was, because obviously that's how I put socks and stuff on. So from there, with my legs straight, I can touch the ground now, but obviously I'm bending through my spine. I'd love to be able to have a flat spine and still do that, but I've just done that the wrong way, haven't I? I've just gone up. I should be going down. So I did 20, I did 21. So now I need to go down to 22. So like, because I can start hinging as well, that'll be good. I have always thought, not always, that's a lie, my general thought is that the best way of developing range of motion is under load, because your body responds to load. So like eccentrically loading and stretching at the same time. So with doing RDLs and stuff, it'll just be pushing it more and more and changing the focus from just shifting the most weight relevant to competition movements to increasing the range of motion. Anyway. That's the one. Eight. 9. So it starts off, it's like easy, 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 easy. Dear God, this is hard. 1 rep max, stand up. Oh, that's the one. I definitely feel like I've done something there. Not bad. But like, that's it. That's the point I wanted to get to, of where it feels like I'm pushing towards, it sounds so silly, but like, I feel like I'm pushing towards failure. I don't think I could have done another 1 or 2 more of them with the same technique. Like, if I just sit my hips back like that, I do this all day. That's not helping. It's not bending my knees. But directly driving the pressure onto my knees as I do it, that's it. So that's good, actually. So that's a good point to have, with it being the first time doing it here anyway. If that's my baseline, and gradually look to improve that over time. Oh, nice clunk in my hip there. That was good. So, P22 at 9. Body weight for the 3rd set. Let's go the next superset. So for this one, I'm going to do leg extensions and calf raises. So I might have to start putting my trainers on soon. I haven't been doing that because basically they've been, my feet have been too fat, just the swelling. So, calf raises. I'm going to start with both feet. Oh, that range of motion sucks. That's it, so just 5. And then leg extensions. I'm going to have to do this outside the rack. You just have to trust me. I don't think you'll be able to see me. So I'm just going to do this single leg. So starting with the right leg, hamstring curl as much as I can, leg extension. I bet that looks super easy. It's really uncomfortable. So I'm actively trying to pull my heel towards me. So I'm holding my hip up, my leg up, trying to pull my my heel towards me, and then I'm straightening out my leg. So the heel towards me is stretching the kneecap. The active hold here is using my hip flexor, and then the extension is obviously using my quad. So I don't think that was quite on the right place. So this is one of the things that I'm doing 3 times a day. So higher frequency, lower total volume, because although it's uncomfortable, it's not like it's not muscularly hard. It's on the joint. It's at the joint, not on the joint. It's the tendon that I can feel, and it feels like it's made of this. I mean, that's good, like from a recovery perspective, I guess. But like the range of motion, it's just shot. So it's just going to be one set of them. So single leg calf and single leg extension. 1 times 5, 10 aside at body weight. That's it. And next up is going to be go inside, do some stretching. So what I'm basically going to do, lower myself onto the floor and do like a quad stretch like that. Actually, have I got anything I could use in here to do that? So I need like a strap or something, because I'm nowhere near reaching my foot there to do this with it. I mean, even just that, actually, that's a good idea. Hamstring curls. See, now I'm getting to the point of where it's gone beyond the point of like, well, it's not gone beyond. It's like just at the point of where it goes from like training discomfort to actual pain. So I think if I use my brain, that's a good place to stop things. And tomorrow I'll do more. Do a pull day, some more leg rehab stuff. I'll do some more rehab after lunch, and then again tonight. But that's it for my like gym session today. So with that said, thank you for watching if you made it this far. I will see whoever in the next couple of days. Take care.